Donald Trump just signed into law the One Big Beautiful Bill Act, a sweeping new package combining massive tax cuts, deep spending reductions, and a major shift in federal priorities. It's been called the largest tax cut legislation in U.S. history, and critics say it's a, quote, trickle-down cruelty act. But what's actually in it? Who wins or who loses? Hello, and welcome to Tenor, where we break down the biggest political headlines without the noise. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss a beat. First, let's take a look at what's actually in the law. $4.5 trillion in tax cuts over the next 10 years, extending Trump's 2017 tax cuts permanently. There is a SALT deduction cap raised from $10,000 to $40,000 for 5 years. There is no federal tax on tips, overtime pay, car loan interest, and seniors get a $6,000 deduction. Child tax credits were raised to $2,200 and a $1,000, quote, baby investment account were introduced. Trump accounts allowed parents to save tax-free for kids' future expiring in 2028, and estate tax was doubled permanently, which benefits wealthy estates. Spending and cuts. $150 billion was added to defense and an additional $150 billion for border enforcement and deportations. Medicaid and SNAP were slashed, projected $1 trillion in cuts, potentially removing healthcare from 11 to 12 million Americans by 2034. And also green energy credits were repealed and student loan forgiveness was rolled back. Now let's take a look at the fiscal impact. This bill adds $2.8 to $3.4 trillion to the federal deficit through 2034, and corporate and high earners get around 75% of the benefits. Bottom 20% could actually net $700 to $1,000 per year. Now, what are people actually saying about this bill? Supporters claim that the average family sees $10,900 more in take-home pay and middle-class incomes up around 12%, and tipped workers get an additional $1,300 per year. Supporters say that this bill creates 7 million projected jobs and roughly 1 million annual new jobs in small businesses. Critics warn of the trickle-down cruelty, giving wake-up calls for working-class families. They also warn of the loss of coverage, with up to 12 million people losing Medicaid, and an estimated $3.3 to $4 trillion in deficit growth with rising interest costs. Let's break this bill down even further. Here are some of the pros and cons of the One Big Beautiful Bill Act. Pros: lower taxes for most Americans. Families earning between $60,000 and $150,000 per year will see an average of $10,900 increase in take-home pay over 10 years. And tipped workers and hourly employee benefits from eliminated taxes on tips and overtime. A boost to small businesses and investment. Corporate tax cuts and deductions for reinvestments could fuel over 1 million new jobs per year, according to GOP projections. And the Trump accounts and expanded child credits give working families more tools to save. Simplicity and permanence. This bill locks in and simplifies the Trump 2017 tax code, giving households and businesses long-term stability. And there are also fewer brackets, which mean more predictability. And finally, for the pros, we have the border and defense investment. $300 billion total increase in defense and immigration enforcement spending, addressing GOP priorities on national security and border control. Now let's take a look at the cons. There are massive cuts to safety net programs. A projected $1 trillion in cuts to Medicaid and SNAP, potentially leaving 11 to 12 million without coverage. And critics say that this redistributes wealth upward by cutting from the poor and disabled to fund tax breaks. High-end bias. The top 1% of earners receive 75% of the benefits, according to nonpartisan studies. And estate tax changes and capital gains exclusions overwhelmingly help the ultra-wealthy. Exploding the deficit. The nonpartisan Congressional Budget Office estimates that the bill will add $2.8 to $3.4 trillion to the national debt over the next decade, raising concerns about future inflation and interest rate hikes. And finally, we have temporary perks but permanent costs. Many benefits like the Trump accounts and SALT cap raises expire after 2028, while tax breaks for corporations and high earners remain permanent. The bottom line is, if you're middle class, you'll likely feel a short-term tax boost. But if you rely on government aid or care about rising debt, this bill may hit harder than it helps. Let us know in the comments. Do the pros outweigh the cons in your eyes? Now, what does this mean going forward? Politically, Trump solidifies his economic agenda but faces backlash in vulnerable GOP districts. Economically, this could fuel temporary growth but risks inflation and interest pressure, and permanent cuts to key programs. Socially, millions lose healthcare and food aid while high earners gain disproportionately. So what's your take? Did the one big beautiful bill deliver relief or widen inequality? Was the $10,900 tax boost life-changing or lost in the fallout of social welfare cuts? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. If this video gave you insight, hit that like and subscribe button and share it with someone who wants to cut through the noise. Thank you for watching Tenor, and I'll see you next time.